And let's get into the breaking news. Now, of course, this comes the way of the actual website and Twitter account for People Can Fly. And the breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, and this should come off as no surprise, but it is because they were not originally a part of this, a part of the game itself. We have learned that People Can Fly have just announced that they are going to be co-developing Gears of War E-Day and working on the project with the coalition. Now, why this is a really big deal is one, they are an incredibly talented studio. Two, they worked on Gears of War Judgment Day. Now, Judgment, rather, not Judgment Day, that's Terminator 2. But look, truth of the matter is that a lot of people, Fuzzy, didn't care for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I very much enjoyed it. Yes, it was different and I can understand why people did not enjoy it as much as the first 3 Gears. I get it. I totally get it. But I very much enjoyed my time with Gears of War Judgment. And well, the truth of the matter is that they are a talented studio. So Fuzzy, what I'd like to do is open up today's show with the breaking news, but I want to read the presser directly from People Can Fly. And here it is, folks. It comes the way of Warsaw, Poland, which is where the studio is located, and it's dated January 27th, 2024. And it says this: People Can Fly is thrilled to be working on Gears of War E-Day, the next mainline game in the renowned Gears of War series, as a co-development partner with the coalition. It goes on to say this: we are honored to return to the world of Gears of War, a franchise deeply embedded in our studio's history. As lead developer of the iconic Gears of War Judgment and co-development partner on Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, we have always been passionate about the series and its legacy. Returning to collaborate on the next chapter of this legendary saga is both a privilege and an exciting opportunity to build upon the intense, visceral action and rich storytelling that fans have come to love. We are deeply grateful for our partners' trust and support in this journey. This comes the way of People Can Fly CEO Sebastian Wierkowski. Now, it does have a few more paragraphs. I do want to read it for context, folks, so bear with me. It goes on to say this: Gears of War E-Day is not just our next major game. It's a return to what makes Gears of War games special and authentic. We're pleased to be partnering with the talented folks at People Can Fly who have been a part of our franchise's legacy for so long. Now, that statement, folks, comes the way of Mike Crump, who is the current studio head at the coalition. Now, it goes on to say this: our team at People Can Fly, made up of dedicated Gears of War fans, is pouring everything we have into creating an experience that will exceed expectations. Now, while we can't share more just yet, we're eager for the day when we can show all of the exciting things we've been working on. And this is Gloom Barry, who is the development director at People Can Fly. Now, again, this is breaking news. They are co-developing the new Gears of War, a franchise that has had lots of ups and downs, right? Gears 1, 2, and 3, everyone will, I think, could admit in this chat right now, are probably some of the best games in the trilogy. And I think it could even rival something like Halo 1, 2, and 3. It could rival something like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. And the list goes on and on. These are iconic games with iconic characters that we all know and love. And we have to admit, Fuzzy, that Gears 4, a lot of people did not like because of the kids aspect. Yeah. Rather than it being about, well, Marcus, Dom had, did what he did with the sacrifice. And of course, Baird and Coltrane. We did get some of that in Gears 4, but not enough. And in Gears 5, I'm going to be honest with you folks, was a big step up. Still one of the best looking in the series. There's no doubt about it. I thought the game was brilliant. I think it's it doesn't get the credit that it deserves, at least in my personal opinion. But now we are returning to where it all started. Now, this is something that has been discussed in books. At some point, it may be discussed in film or TV, maybe even anime. But we are getting where it all started. And we learned about this as a huge surprise during June showcase, which, listen, it was an 11 out of 10, folks. I mean, that's just what it is.
Mhm.
This is a really big deal because what I think this ultimately tells us is that they are full steam ahead. Now, what they're exactly doing, we don't know. They were very vague. I want to get your hot take on this breaking news. How big of a deal is this for the coalition to have help from People Can Fly?
Well, they're the wizards when it comes to Unreal Engine in general, but having the additional help to be able to, possibly focus more so on the story and focus more so on like some of the tweaks that they've, brought to the Unreal Engine 5 with, updates and things and working with Epic and all. I think this now allows them, some freedom where those projects that we heard about that they were working on before they got shelved, maybe this frees up some of that availability to possibly bring those to the forefront. Or it could also mean, like with the Phoenix collection that a lot of us have heard in the background, that allows for more projects for their teams to be working with. I like the fact that we get more insight on what People Can Fly and what that partnership with Xbox was, because we always wondered what that would be. Is it going to be a remaster or a remake, or are they the ones that's involved with the the possible trilogy and such, or is it something totally different, like kind of like what we were looking at? I forget what the one group that was doing Tatanka for Halo.
Certain Affinity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we weren't sure exactly what that partnered project was, or if it was something completely different, like maybe something in the vein of like Outriders or something. But it's awesome to have that team working with Coalition. Coalition is typically the ones we hear helping a lot of the other studios within the Xbox, building kind of thing. But having the additional help allows them to get projects, probably to market faster. And considering the rumors that we've been hearing with E-Day being possibly a 2025 deal, or whether it's the Phoenix collection that's a 2025 deal, especially with the 20th anniversary right around the corner for next year, it just makes it real interesting to see what lands first. And the fact that it's that soon of a time frame, like, sure, they've had time between now and Gears 5 to put something together, but what we saw in just the opening trailer, and yes, I know it's in engine and whatnot, but their gameplay has always been on par with what their teaser trailers are like, if not, by the time the game releases, even better than what was believed to be CGI was. So I'm excited to see what we have, between June and now, as far as an announcement, or whether it's, I guess E-Day might get the Indiana Jones treatment, where it's a December release, because Indiana Jones did really well for the company in that time period as far as that release. And we all know there's that gorilla in the room that we got to figure out if GTA 6 is landing sometime this year or if it's next year. But, outside of that, having a talented team work with Coalition and them being the kings of talent with Unreal, you can't go wrong with that. And that just means we're going to have a pretty nice, exciting, release towards the either later part of this year or early next year, or maybe at both time periods. We'll see.
I mean, look, I think it's safe to assume, and you know what they say about when you assume, right? Well, I'm not gonna reiterate it, but you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting something Gears of War this year, right? I think it's safe to assume that in fact is going to happen. Second half of the year. Now, whether that is Gears of War E-Day or Gears of War, the Marcus Phoenix collection that's been rumored and basically pretty much confirmed by numerous sources to exist, I don't know which way they go with this, because if you drop Gears of War E-Day this year, let's just say, it is the prequel, and it does line up for the 20th anniversary to be celebrated by the one of the most iconic trilogies ever released in gaming. Now, I understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the mileage on what I'm saying is going to vary. Shout out to a couple people in the chat, like, oh, Halo's better, or Mass Effect is better, or this. Listen, I get it. Everyone's going to have their own flavor that they think is top tier. Everyone's top 5 is not going to be the same. For me, the Gears of War trilogy is neck and neck, and I think I could fairly say this with Halo 1, 2, and 3. Now, again, you may not agree, but I think it's, at least in my opinion, they both deserve to be in the same sentence. Those are 2 trilogies that just hit different. And they've all been great games in their own way, one way or another. But I do want to say that this is great news. People Can Fly are fantastic and talented developers. To know that they are co-developing Gears of War E-Day suggests that it is full on pedal to the metal to the end of the year. And I think you're onto something with a December release, because I know that in the past, a December release has been looked upon as, we really kind of want that September, October, November, because it's the holiday. No one really buys games during December unless they're on sale. Will it really sell? Well, you brought up a great point, and I kind of want you to elaborate on what would be the case if Gears of War E-Day does release in December, because I think Indiana Jones bucked that trend with games not succeeding. Okay, yeah, it didn't get into the Game Awards categories, which kind of stinks, but most of the publications had this not only in their top 3, but a lot of places their Game of the Year. So it did get acolytes for sure. It just didn't find its way into the Keeleys. I'm okay with that. I think Xbox is okay with that. But just elaborate, if it does happen to land in December, will it find success?
Oh, I believe so. Like, the key things we have to remember, it's going to be releasing Game Pass. It's a beloved IP on the Xbox platform, and not much is going to be in that December window. We assume it, let's just say GTA releases September, October. I think the latest release they've had in their GTA history has been like a November timeframe. Let's just say that releases. That gives the people enough time to kind of get through the campaign and clears the calendar or clears the slate in a lot of backlogs. So that way they can hop right into Gears at the end of the year. And that would be a hell of a way to send off the year. Like, we already know we're stacked pretty much on the first half of the year. Fable's probably going to land somewhere on the second half. Same thing with Outer Worlds 2. What better way to end the year with E-Day? And I think that will help kick off the beginning of the 20th anniversary year for Gears in general. And then we hear something about, let's say, the Phoenix Collection, because with that being kind of the prequel, for those that want to get back into the series, this will be a nice, appetizer, although I have a good feeling it's going to be a lot more than just an appetizer. But it's a great way to kind of bring attention back to the series. And then when you have the Phoenix Collection, that'll get a lot of the players that may have missed the trilogy on when it first was released back into the system, or at least get them interested for whatever Coalition has lined up for years after this and stuff like that. But December now, at this point, the only thing that you would want to avoid December for would be because you want to be in the Game of the Year conversation. But outside of that, I think more companies are concerned with like what gamers have to play. Like, is this going to be something that everybody requests under their tree or in their inbox, or however you celebrate giving gifts as far as gaming is concerned? This would be a good way to end the year. You're going to have a lot of people that are getting their new consoles, or maybe their new PC, or looking to stream to that tablet or handheld PC, or whatever the case may be. And they'll have that game that'll be a piece of eye candy and great story to be able to send off the year, and probably get them hooked on the Gears, trilogy, or not trilogy, but the whole Gears platform from that point forward. But yeah, sending it off at the end of the year, excellent way to end the year for Xbox. Great way to kick off the 20th anniversary, starting the next year. Yeah, I could see that being a mic drop moment for Xbox this year going into the next.